Okay, let's open up the session. So good evening, and formally I'm Cleland Snedden, I'm the returning officer, and I'd like to welcome you to this pre-nomination awareness session for Ward 9, East Kilbride West, Scottish Local Government by-election. So thanks very much for coming along. Hopefully you'll find the session useful. We've got a couple of other colleagues on the call just to introduce them. So Gordon Stewart, who's the Deputy Returning Officer for South Lanarkshire. So say hello to Gordon, and also his colleague Tracy O'Hara, who's on the call. Tracy works within the election office as well, and has now knocked up quite a number of elections under your belt, Tracy. So here we go with another one. So, as well as ourselves, I'm sure you're aware there's numerous others involved in running this by-election. Details of key contacts, you'll find those in the pre-nomination information pack at Appendix 1. And in addition to the recording of the session, a note's been prepared and that'll be made available to you as soon as possible. So just to cover the aims for this session, we have summarised these in the agenda. So those are to provide information on standing at this by-election and the nomination process, to highlight the key dates on the timetable of arrangements, to discuss what happens after the close of nominations, provide information on local contacts and arrangements for the by-election, and then critically give you an opportunity to ask any questions. I see we've been joined as well, Callum, so if there's any queries, just pop up a hand as we go through the information we're going to share. So some of you will be very experienced, well versed in the pre-nomination information, but for the benefit of all attendees, or for those who are running through the recording, I'm going to cover what you'll need to know to assist you in your considerations as we head towards nomination day. This is the first of 3 briefing sessions prior to the poll date, and at subsequent sessions I'll cover postal votes and the counts. But there's a reasonable amount of information provided to you in the pre-nomination information pack and in the nomination pack that I'm sure you'll find useful. I'll work through the agenda, but as I said earlier, just please raise a hand at any time and we'll try and address any queries as we go through this. And at the end of the session, we'll provide a further opportunity for any questions. So just turning to the returning officer and the electoral registration officer responsibilities, just to outline these, there's quite often a bit of confusion on the role of the returning officer, the RO, and the electoral registration officer, or ERO. Perhaps that's due to the fact that in England, the RO and the ERO are often the same person, but in Scotland, that's not the case, and the two positions are legally distinct. In Scotland, the returning officer is often the chief executive of the council, as I am, although there are some exceptions across the country. But the returning officer is personally responsible for the running of the by-election and can appoint deputies with full or specific powers to assist in the running of the election. The returning officer role is fully distinct to my role as the chief executive of the council, and I'm not accountable to the council for the by-election, but rather I am legally accountable. And that separation of functions is critical to the integrity of the by-election today. So as returning officer, I have in place an election team led by Gordon, who will carry out the day-to-day running of the by-election, and they're likely to be your first point of contact. So as a returning officer, there's a number of aims that I look to ensure. So first of all, that candidates, agents, media and the public accept and have confidence in the arrangements and the results. And this now extends to include safe systems of work at each step of administering the by-election for all stakeholders. We need to keep people safe. The by-election needs to be transparent to those scrutinising and observing the process, and assistance is given to candidates and agents to understand what is involved at the count. We'll provide clear and helpful information to candidates and agents both prior to and during the various events. And then finally, the number of queries or complaints that may arise is therefore reduced. So that's one of the key aims. So to assist in achieving the above, please contact myself or my colleagues in the election team as soon as any issues arise so that we can help you as early in the process as possible. So turning to the electoral registration officer, so in Scotland they're appointed by the local authority and are responsible for the preparation and maintenance of the register of electors and the list of absent voters within their area as well. The key deadline dates for the electoral registration officer are as follows. So registration deadline will be midnight on Tuesday the 20th of June 2023. The deadline for new postal votes and postal proxy applications and for changes to existing postal or proxy arrangements is 5 p.m. on Wednesday, the 21st of June 2023. Cancellations to existing postal and proxy arrangements, the deadline is 5 p.m. on Wednesday, the 21st of June 2023. And the deadline for new proxy applications is 5 p.m. on Wednesday, the 28th of June 2023. And then finally, a further deadline for you. The deadline for emergency proxy applications would be 5 p.m. on poll day on Thursday, the 6th of July 2023. So who else is involved in the by-election arrangements? So in addition to the election team, there's a number of key bodies who are involved in the by-election. So first of all, the Electoral Commission, and contact details are provided in your handout. The Electoral Commission are responsible for registration of political parties, campaign by-election expenses, reporting on by-election arrangements, and providing guidance. And there are many helpful documents you will find on their website, which is at www.electoralcommission.org.uk. The Scottish Government are responsible for the legislation that underpins this by-election. And we have a series of contractors, and I have appointed Criticom as the contractor who have produced the poll cards, IDOCS, who are responsible for the printing of the ballot papers and the postal voting packs. They are also responsible for the postal vote management system and the e-count hardware and software. You might be aware that South Lanarkshire have worked directly with IDOCS in successfully delivering a number of e-count elections and by-elections, and I'll provide more specific information in relation to the e-count at the post-nomination session. So other bodies who are involved in our election, so you'll find reference to the Electoral Management Board, the EMB for Scotland, and the board's key objectives are that candidates, agents, the media and the public accept and have confidence in the by-election and the results. They ensure that the election is transparent to those scrutinising and observing the processes. They assist candidates and agents to understand what's involved in an e-count, and they provide clear and helpful information to candidates and agents both prior to and during the various events. And then finally, they reduce ultimately the number of queries or complaints that may arise. Two other agencies I'll pick out. First of all, Royal Mail. They provide a mailing service to candidates, and the documentation is contained in the nomination pack detailing that service. And then finally, Police Scotland. Police officers will visit polling places periodically on polling day, and they'll also be in attendance at the count. We'll go into a little bit more detail about their role in subsequent sessions. So a little bit of information around the legislation underpins the election. So Appendix 3 of your handout highlights the relevant legislation which governs the conduct of the Scottish local government elections and has been prepared to be helpful. However, it's not an exhaustive list, and you should therefore take your own legal advice should the need arise. In terms of the voting system being used is the single transferable vote system. That means that votes are cast using numbers ranked in order of preference. And again, a briefing note on the single transferable vote system is detailed in your packet, Appendix 2, and also in the nomination pack. In relation to ballot papers, instructions on the ballot paper are to number the candidates in order of your choice, put the number 1 in the box next to the name of your candidate, who is your first choice, 2 in the box next to your second choice, 3 in the box next to the third, and so on and so forth. And you can make as many or as few choices as you wish. In relation to the by-election timetable, the timetable for the local government by-election spans 35 working days. A copy of the main dates is provided in the nomination pack, but it is worth highlighting a few of the key dates. So the notice of by-election was published on Wednesday, the 17th of May, And in terms of the nomination period, that began on Thursday, the 18th of May 2023, and nominations can be lodged any weekday between 10 a.m. in the morning and 4 p.m. in the afternoon until the statutory deadline of 4 p.m. on Monday, the 5th of June 2023. Pre-checks can be carried out during normal hours, and I would strongly encourage you to do so as early as possible and make an appointment to ensure staff are available to you and are on hand to deal with you without any delay. So as early as possible, you can contact the election office and make those arrangements. I would really encourage you to do that. The key dates regarding registration and absent voting we've already highlighted to you earlier. So a little bit about eligibility. So first of all, can you stand for election? So to stand for election, you must be at least 18 years of age on the day of your nominations and either a British citizen, an Irish citizen, an eligible Commonwealth citizen, or a qualifying foreign national, or a Schedule 6A national. You also cannot be disqualified from standing. In addition, you at least must be one of the following. So firstly, registered local government elector for the local authority area, occupied as owner or tenant any land or premises in the local authority area during the whole 12 months preceding nomination, have your principal or only place of work, including unpaid work, during the last 12 months in the local authority area, or lived in the local authority area during the last 12 months. So matters of eligibility and disqualifications are detailed in a little bit more detail in the nomination pack. So turning to the pre-nomination and the nomination packs, you'll find in Appendix 5 of the pre-nomination pack further details on each of the documents in the nomination pack, and it's worth discussing at this session some of the specifics. So detailed in the document, first of all, lodging your nomination papers. It's helpful if you can make an appointment in advance, as I mentioned earlier, of lodging your nomination papers, and the election office is open to take those nomination papers between 10 and 4 each workday, between the Thursday, 18th of May 2023 to not later than 4 p.m. on Monday, the 5th of June. Notice of situation of polling places. There are 12 polling stations. That means rooms where you can actually vote within 6 polling places, i.e. the buildings within which they're located. And I'll discuss these in a bit more detail at the post-nomination session. Guidelines for display of campaign material. The council do not permit fly posting on street furniture or the display of A-frames outside polling places. So again, it would be really helpful if you could ensure that your supporters and agents are aware of this, and I'd be grateful if you could ensure that they adhere to those arrangements. In relation to the notice of withdrawal of nomination, if you lodge your nomination and decide at a later date you wish to withdraw, you must give notice in writing, and the withdrawal form is contained within the nomination pack. However, that must be returned by 4 p.m. on Monday, the 5th of June 2023 at the latest. So what happens after the close of nominations? I've scheduled a post-nomination session using MS Teams again for Tuesday, the 6th of June 2023 at 5:30. And in that session, I will provide you with a list of the candidates that are standing in the ward. That is the statutory notice of poll and statement of persons nominated. I'll provide you the list of election agents for each of the candidates, and I'll also provide the appointment of polling, counting and postal vote agents forum to allow you to request passes. And again, I would ask you to return those as quickly as possible to allow a final allocation of passes to be determined. I'll provide an update on the preparation for the poll, the postal votes and the count processes. And you will get an automatic invite to attend that briefing session to ensure you're aware of the next steps being taken by me for the poll, the postal votes and the count processes. Poll cards, again, just to share some dates with you, poll cards are being dispatched to Royal Mail on Wednesday, the 7th of June 2023, for those who are registered before Friday, the 2nd of June 2023. And that's in good time to inform voters of the deadlines for voting arrangements. Poll cards will be sent out to those who are registered by midnight on Tuesday, the 20th of June 2023, and they'll be sent out on Monday, the 26th of June 2023. So turning to postal votes, and again to confirm some of the dates, currently there are around 2,920 postal voters in Ward 9 in East Kilbride West. The deadline for postal vote applications has already been highlighted as 5 p.m. on Wednesday, the 21st of June 2023. Application forms are downloadable from the Electoral Registration Office website or from www.gov.uk/register-to-vote. And again, there's details of that in the pack. In terms of the issue of postal votes, it's intended that postal votes will be sent first class on Monday, the 26th of June 2023. In terms of the opening of the postal votes will be open from Wednesday, the 28th of June 2023, and more details about the opening sessions will be provided in due course. Postal voters are required by law to provide their signature, unless there's a waiver in place, and date of birth on the postal voting statement, which is returned with their ballot paper. The signature and date of birth are compared with those provided at the time they applied for their postal vote, and if either of those don't match or there is information missing, then the postal vote will be rejected and therefore not included within the count. I am keen to ensure as few postal votes are rejected as possible and put arrangements in place to raise awareness of the procedures that are followed. Please ensure that you're aware of the Electoral Commission's Code of Conduct on handling of postal votes, where you're asked to adhere to two key principles. First of all, uphold the secrecy of the ballot. And secondly, you should not place yourself in a position or a situation where your honesty or integrity can be questioned. So briefly, I'll touch on the count. There's more detail to come in future sessions, but the post-nomination sessions will provide that kind of detail. But just to confirm a few key details for you. The venue, we will be holding the count in Committee Room 1 in the Council offices in Almada Street in Hamilton, ML30AA. Timing of the count will start at 10 p.m. on Thursday, the 6th of July 2023, and it'll start with the opening of the ballot boxes, i.e. opening and orienting the ballot papers and placing them in the trays ready for the electronic count process. The count is likely to last for around about 2 hours, depending on voter turnout. In terms of e-count information, as I mentioned earlier, we'll provide that to you in due course, but in the meantime, I have detailed a straightforward workflow plan as an initial guide as to how the e-counting process works, and you'll find that at Appendix 6. Attendance at the count, only those issued with a pass can gain access to the count. The forum, which I mentioned earlier, will be provided in your post-nomination awareness pack. And I wish to stress this point, that anyone turning up to seek admission who has not applied for a pass will not be provided access. We're currently working through the numbers that we can accommodate at the count, and we'll provide information at future sessions just to confirm the numbers in place. But you'll be aware that these are slightly different because of the precautions we've put in place around the COVID period. We've relaxed those to an extent, but we still have regard to the safety of all those attending the count. So count procedures, in addition to providing an update at the post-nomination sessions, you'll also be aware I've scheduled further awareness sessions, we mentioned them earlier, and they'll be on Thursday the 29th of June 2023, and a final session to demonstrate e-counting at the Committee Room 1 in the Council offices in Almada Street on Wednesday the 5th of July 2023, and we'll provide further details of those sessions in due course. Some information you want to have regard in relation to candidate spending at the by-election. Electorate information has been provided as at Tuesday the 16th of May 2023. However, the expenses limit will be updated and provided to you after Friday the 26th of May, i.e. the last day for the publication of the notice of by-election, and that'll be in the post-nomination pack. You should refer to Part 3 of the Electoral Commission guidance with regard to spending at a by-election. And then turning to my role as part of the public awareness campaign, so we will ensure we publish reporter articles and on the council's South Lanarkshire View pages, and you'll find those online at www.southlanarkshireview.scot. We'll also produce some web information, including videos regarding the process. We obviously publish statutory notices at public information points wherever possible, and we work with minority groups in the South Lanarkshire Council area to promote participation. We provide information directly to our care homes in South Lanarkshire, and we provide election and electoral registration office helplines so that people can access advice or information as appropriate. The main messages for our campaign materials is to highlight the key dates for the by-election, for polling day, deadlines for voting arrangements, etc., and to encourage voting and know that voters should vote using numbers. So we try to reinforce the format for this particular election, as well as promote participation in the electoral event. So next steps around this. So we've run through an update of information for this session, but the next two sessions we have planned is Tuesday the 6th of June 2023 at 5:30, and that'll provide post-nomination documents and information. But we will also have a session on Thursday the 29th of June 2023 at 5:30, and that session will focus on the polling day and the count arrangements. And I'd encourage you, if you can, attend those sessions to ensure you're aware of the plans leading up to and on the polling day itself. So that's a run through the information we wish to share with you this afternoon. Hopefully that's helpful, but can I check in with colleagues who have joined us on the call? Are there any questions that we can perhaps answer for you at this stage? And if colleagues would put up their hand on the Teams icon, that would be helpful. Chris, can I bring you in first, please?
Hi there. It's my bad. I was quite late in declaring interest, but I've not received a nomination pack yet. Is it possible to get that sent out tonight? It'd just be good to get it printed while I'm here. Oh, you're on mute, Tracy.
It's attached to the meeting request.
Let me just double check that. Is it just in the pre-nomination pack?
The pre-nomination pack and the nomination pack, but I'll send it to you again. That's no problem.
Thanks, Tracy.
Okay, we'll send that direct.
I'll do that just now.
Any other queries we can help with this afternoon? No, not seeing any hands. So just in closing, as I said, thank you for joining us this afternoon. Hopefully you found some of the information helpful. Many of you might be familiar with local government elections, so it's a helpful reminder on some of the information. But if you require any clarification on any point that we've covered this afternoon, please don't hesitate to contact the election team at any time, who are very helpful and very happy, should I say, to assist in the lead up to this by-election. There are no stupid questions. If there are any queries, ask them early so that we can help you out with that. So if that concludes our session this afternoon, I look forward to seeing you at the post-nomination session if you're able to make it. Thanks all.